So you see Lawrence there getting looked at on the sidelines. Couldn't really tell what happened.
You gonna go have fun now?
Yes.
The NFL divisional round culminated in one of the most storied rivalries in NFL history, facing off against one another yet again. And we have a lot to break down here, man, so we're going to keep this intro very short. Before we get to the content, make sure you drop like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. We've hit on some of our prize picks. If you guys want to see who I'm picking, make sure you're following me on Instagram, which is also in the description. And now that we get all that out of the way, break! You know what absolutely crushes my soul? Whenever I carefully and meticulously make multiple picks, and let's say 3 out of my 4 players hit, and my 4th player unfortunately didn't even play in the second half of the game or left the game early. And as a result, I lose my money.
That wasn't very nice.
Which is why Prize Picks is now protecting all of us from that happening ever again. Introducing Reboot. If you happen to ever pick more on a player's projection, and that player leaves the game in the first half, and he doesn't return in the second half, then Prize Picks will automatically disqualify that player. So let's say I chose 3 players and picked more on all of them, and one of those players has to leave the game, unfortunately due to an injury, and doesn't return in the second half. Then my 3 picks will automatically turn into 2 picks. I play Prize Picks every single day, and I post my picks onto my Instagram story. And right now, Prize Picks is willing to match up to $100 of your deposit when you use my promo code Mikerophone. So use my promo code right now. Let's win some money together. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor.
Back to your thoughts on Coach Mike McCarthy. Does a result like this change anything in your mind with him?
No, not at all. And their decision for our kicker was exonerated with his field goal in my mind, and I'm proud for him. But this is very sickening to not win tonight.
Mike Check 1212. What's going on, everybody? You guys already know, man, as a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, I am used to disappointment. I am used to having crazy high expectations only to have them crushed. Hell, there's a meme on the Dallas Cowboys cycle for a reason. And while I was pleasantly surprised by the Cowboys' victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the true test was going to come up against the San Francisco 49ers. And this game had so many narratives surrounding it, man. I mean, starting from Brock Purdy's remarkable ascension as the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. You even heard a rumor from Mike Silver that suggests that, barring a seismic jump from Trey Lance and a huge regression from Brock Purdy, or an unfortunate injury, Brock Purdy will be the team starter in 2023. And once again, we're reminded that San Francisco traded 3 first-round picks for the right to draft Trey Lance, and will now likely have to trade him. Now, we're gonna make our own separate video on this, because I don't really truly believe this. Whenever you have a quarterback on a rookie scale contract that you traded 3 first-round picks for, you're not just gonna give up on him like that. I mean, look at the New York Jets. They're not giving up on Zach Wilson despite him struggling to begin his career, so I highly doubt the San Francisco 49ers give up on Trey Lance like that, but that's gonna be its own separate video. The key takeaway here is Brock Purdy has had one of the most remarkable Cinderella runs that we've ever seen in NFL history, and now he is the quarterback that started against the Dallas Cowboys as the Cowboys came in here
looking for revenge.
If you remember, the Dallas Cowboys season last year ended in embarrassing fashion, and if you forgot how it ended, well, let me remind you.
Quarterback here. Prescott takes off running the football. Whoa! Oh my gosh. The official gets in the way. The game's over.
It's the end of the game.
The game is over.
Not only was this play call just embarrassing, and I don't necessarily know whose idea it was. Some people say it was Kellen Moore's idea. Some people say Dak Prescott audibled into it. Whoever's idea it was, it clearly didn't work, and the way the Cowboys handled it in the postgame last year wasn't necessarily pretty either.
I mean, you're talking about a team, you're talking about men that come out each and every day of their lives and give everything to this sport, give everything to this game of football. Nobody wants to succeed more than we want to succeed. I understand fans and the word fan for fanatic, I get that, but to know everything that we put into this day in and day out, try our hardest. Nobody comes in the game wanting or expecting to lose, and for people to react that way when you're supposed to be a supporter.
They're aiming at the referees.
Yeah, they went
Well, shit, credit to them then.
That's what takes.
So obviously, leading up to this game, there was a lot on the line. Brock Purdy needs to prove that, hey, I might be the face of the San Francisco 49ers over Trey Lance. Whereas the Dallas Cowboys need to prove that they've improved over last year, and they're not going to have a similar ending to their season as they did last year at the hands of the same team that ended their season last year. And the matchup is beautiful. You get to see Kyle Shanahan's offense versus Dan Quinn's defense once again. You get to see Nick Bosa go up against the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. You can make the argument that 2 top 3 pass rushers are in this game as well, in the form of Micah Parsons and Nick Bosa. This game had absolutely everything, so let's dive into it. This past week, we made a video on the Dallas Cowboys kicker, Brett Maher, and his very strange problem with kicking extra points. I mean, at least that's what he was dealing with last week when he faced off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And over the week, the information we got about the situation from his special teams coaches that Maher just had the case of the yips, and he just needs to get over them. After all, Brett Maher was one of the better kickers in the NFL this past year. So during pregame, there was a lot of reports about Brett Maher's warm-up routine, including the fact that he was able to hit about 50% of his kicks in warm-ups before getting trolled by the likes of Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams while he was warming up. So some mind games were already being played. So for Dallas Cowboys fans that were hoping that Dak Prescott would have a repeat performance of last week,
you're in for a rude awakening.
Unfortunately, the Dallas Cowboys were going up against the top defense in the NFL, at least the top rush defense in the entire NFL, which made establishing the run a little challenging and made Kellen Moore have to dig into his playbook a little bit more. The beginning of the game was relatively slow because this seemed to be a very defensive game, but the first significant moment came in the first quarter where Dak Prescott threw an interception on 3rd and 9 to Dio Lenore. This set up the 49ers in remarkable field position. Fortunately for the Cowboys, they only came out of that with a field goal, which, although you might not think it's a big deal, a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans would really like the luxury of being able to kick field goals right now.
You'll see what I'm talking about later on.
The Cowboys would make a huge statement, however, because the moment they would get the ball back, they would have a 14-play, 74-yard drive that would chew up 7 minutes and 47 seconds of clock that concluded with a Dak Prescott touchdown pass to Dalton Schultz. And this is where things started to get dramatic. Brett Maher trotted out for the extra point, and one of the most dramatic extra point attempts I think I've ever seen in my entire life as a Cowboy fan. People were wondering, was he going to make it? Was he going to miss it? And wow, Brett Maher's extra point attempt would get blocked by Samson Ebukam. Now, following this, the San Francisco 49ers would drive down the field once again and kick another field goal. Way to really rub salt into the wounds of Cowboy fans at this point. The moment the Cowboys would get the ball back, they once again started another very promising drive that even included a gutsy 4th and 4 conversion. They were managing the clock beautifully, and they were able to milk the clock all the way down to the last minute and 24 seconds. At this point, Tony Pollard unfortunately suffered a high ankle sprain, which is what Patrick Mahomes dealt with during his AFC divisional game. And on the very next play, Dak Prescott would throw an interception to Fred Warner. And this completely changed the momentum of the game. I mean, at this point, if I was calling plays for the Dallas Cowboys, my priority would be to try to take the clock down as much as I can. And at this point, if I had to settle for a field goal from Brett Maher a little bit further out, maybe it gives him confidence, maybe he's finally able to hit one,
then I'll do it.
At the very minimum, you don't want to give the 49ers the ball back because you receive the ball to start the second half. Unfortunately, that's not what would happen. The 49ers would get the ball back and run a very interesting drive down the field that included some very fascinating clock management by Kyle Shanahan that resulted in a Robbie Gould 50-yard field goal. So in truly poetic fashion, the San Francisco 49ers were up 6-9 against the Dallas Cowboys. Nice. And despite the Cowboys scoring a touchdown, the 49ers are up just by kicking 3 field goals. It's kind of ironic if you ask me. To give you an idea, at the half, Dak Prescott went 12 for 16 for 81 pass yards, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions, and a passer rating of 66.9, whereas Brock Purdy went 12 of 19 for 129 pass yards, got sacked twice, and a passer rating of 83. In the second half, the Dallas Cowboys would have plenty of opportunities to get back into this game. I mean, they would would punt the ball to start, but Ray McLeod would fumble it. That would put them in field goal range. One drive later, when the Cowboys would get the ball back, following a 3-and-out from the 49ers, Dak Prescott would launch a beautiful 46-yard pass to CeeDee Lamb. And then the San Francisco 49ers would go on the best drive of the game, which the highlight of that drive would be this George Kittle reception that bounced off of his helmet. The Cowboys would then trade field goals with the 49ers, and then the Dallas Cowboys would get the ball back, down one touchdown, 12-19, with an opportunity for Dak Prescott to go on a legacy-defining drive down the field, potentially tie the game. On his first play, he nearly threw an interception to Dre Greenlaw, and then the Cowboys would go 3-and-out, electing to punt the ball, and the San Francisco 49ers will beat the Dallas Cowboys. It's really tough to be impartial whenever I'm, making this video. And no, I'm not going to point the blame finger at the refs or anything like that. It just felt like this was a game that was in the Dallas Cowboys' hands. At least they were competitive. They went up against a hell of a team. The San Francisco 49ers check off a lot of the boxes in regards to what it takes to make it into the Super Bowl. That's why they consistently have been able to get into the NFC Championship over the past couple of years. It's just a little gut-wrenching because it was a game where if we played flawlessly, if Dak Prescott didn't throw those interceptions, maybe this would have went a different way. But for the most part, at the very minimum, I think the way this season concluded at least was better than the way last season concluded. I didn't see a lot of inept clock management scenarios. I mean, I guess if you really want to nitpick, the Dallas Cowboys could have punted the ball a little sooner. But I didn't see mistakes like that really frustrated me throughout the game. But there is one question that's looming in my head. What is going on with Dak Prescott? I mean, if you guys remember from his rookie season and all the past seasons up until now, if there's one thing that Dak was really good at, it was taking care of the football. Now, the reason why I'm a little concerned is he was performing like this during the latter part of the season. Of course, he's going up against one of the top defenses in the NFL. In the past, whenever I would watch Cowboy games, I would say, okay, if there's one thing I know, it's that Dak Prescott, more likely than not, will make the intelligent football decision here. And for some reason, lately, at the latter part of this season, he's just been making significantly more mistakes and hasn't been taking care of the football recently. Now, this is just my immediate reaction to the game. This isn't an in-depth analysis or anything like that. At the end of the day, we gotta hang our hat on this season, saying that we lost to a pretty good team, and we came within 2 games of the Super Bowl. At least we didn't lose in the wild card. I do think this game could have potentially gone differently if Tony Pollard didn't leave the game with an injury, but I don't want to take anything away from the San Francisco 49ers, man. This is an incredible team with a lockdown defense, a genius for a head coach, one of the best running backs in the NFL, a fantastic offensive line, and a really, really good scheme. And we were in it throughout this game. We didn't get embarrassed horrifically. Our season didn't end on something as silly as a QB draw. Of course, whenever this happens, there's a part of you that's just really sad that it's over. You don't get to watch your favorite team play for another 7-8 months. And you just have to deal with rumors over the offseason. So that part's a little tough. But regardless, San Francisco 49ers played a remarkable game. Mike McCarthy coached a hell of a game. Kellen Moore made remarkable play calls. Dan Quinn and Micah Parsons really did their thing. So congratulations to the San Francisco 49ers for making it to the NFC Championship. It was well deserved. And hopefully we could build upon this season and take the next step next season. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.